Welcome back to my official Batman series, guys, leading up to Batman v Superman coming up this Thursday, which I'm very excited for. I recently talked about 1989's Batman, as well as Batman Returns, and now we're going to take a more realistic turn by talking about Batman Begins, the first of the Dark Knight trilogy, directed by Christopher Nolan, and starring Christian Bale in the lead role as Batman. And just as a warning, guys, as always, this review will contain some spoilers, so you have been warned. So please, if you have not watched Batman Begins, please watch Batman Begins and come back to this video. Now, as we all know, this movie is an origin story, and you may be stopping yourself and thinking, what? Come on, another origin story? Please, that is ridiculous. Not true for Batman Begins, because like Spider-Man, this is an origin story done right. This was an intense, realistic action drama, and I really feel like it worked incredibly well with Batman Begins. This is the kind of film where if you sit down and watch this movie, it doesn't feel like a film at times. At times it feels like a true experience, and I really wish that I could have seen this movie when it came out in 2005 and have just been wowed. Because at that point, for DC Comics specifically, we'd had the Superman movies, and we had the Burton Batman films, and we had the cinematic atrocities of Schumacher's Batman films, so none of those films were very gritty. They were always fun, likable, action, comic booky films. To me, this is the first origin story that was actually very serious for DC, and I will go even further to say that I think Batman Begins may be the best origin story of all time. And it turns out that this movie actually heavily inspired them to reboot Casino Royale for Bond, and I think Casino Royale came out a year after this, so within a year we got two awesome, gritty reboots of a franchise that got so stale and campy and corny. So the film really branches, I think, between three timelines. One of them is young Bruce Wayne forced to just reconcile with the death of his parents. Another one is him training at the ninja facility. And another one is him finally becoming Batman. Every single timeline really works. It's a very well structured film, but what I love so much about Batman Begins in particular is that this movie actually had a very good story. This had very complex themes that were very well woven through. Having rewatched only this film, I can say that I think Christian Bale is not only the best Batman that we have ever had, but is the best Bruce Wayne we've ever had. And I really love that this movie examined Bruce Wayne's character from an analytical standpoint. It really just went in depth with the duality of his character, why he does what he does, and you feel like you could be like this man. It's the most relatable Bruce Wayne by far. Something very specific I liked is before Bruce's parents die, we at least get some exposition about the characters, because that's a problem that I didn't talk about in 89's Batman, because you don't care about his parents as much. And I know that's really sad because that's what really creates Batman. His parents are very good people and they want to help the city of Gotham. That makes their characters so good and just so fleshed out, even though they're only in it for like maybe 5 to 10 minutes, that when they die, you feel something. But my God, this movie really got Bruce Wayne right. I can't say it enough. It really was able to examine his character from the greatest perspective I've ever seen a character examined in an origin story. Now I gotta talk about Liam Neeson in this film, because he was amazing, as he is in basically every other movie he's ever been in. He was very powerful as Ra's al Ghul, and I don't have to spoil that because this is obviously a spoiler review of the film. However, I think Liam Neeson in this movie is top-notch. He is a great actor. He's not great at just kicking ass. He's also a very great actor when it comes to being dramatic, and I really think he does that incredibly well in this film as Batman's mentor. And you finally get to see that there was this guy who was once way stronger than Batman. Katie Holmes also co-stars in this film as Assistant DA Rachel Dawes, and I think that she is very good in this movie. This is by far the best performance I've seen from Katie Holmes. The relationship between her and Bruce, I think, is very good. It's handled very well throughout the film, and even though they don't speak to each other a lot, what they do have to say to each other is incredibly essential to the plot, especially where Rachel says to Bruce,
"But it's not who you are underneath. It's what you do that defines you."
This is also one of the first times, if not the first time, I saw Gary Oldman actually playing a good guy. I believe that Gary Oldman was, and is still, the best Commissioner Gordon we've ever had. He's very personable, and plus Gary Oldman is such a great actor. He's known for playing so many awesome, badass roles, but they're all villains. So to see him actually playing one of the protagonists was a very big shift in his career. He actually had a family, so there was some vulnerability with his character already. And midway through the film, when they introduced Morgan Freeman for the first time, I realized, wait, Liam Neeson and Morgan Freeman are in the same movie? I mean, that's cinematic excellence right there. Morgan Freeman in this movie is excellent, as always. His voice just completely elevates his performance all the time, And I just love just how awesome he is. He has a very calm demeanor. And I love the scene where they drive the car and Bruce Wayne says to this Lucius Fox.
So what do you think? Does it come in black?
Cillian Murphy also stars in this film as Scarecrow, or Dr. Jonathan Crane, and he gives an electrifying performance. This is my favorite performance of his until Inception. And finally, let's talk about Tom Wilkinson, who played drug kingpin Carmine Falcone. He knocked it out of the park in this movie, and I've thought very long about this. This may be the best supporting performance I've seen from Tom Wilkinson. He was marvelous in this film. You felt like this guy was a force to be reckoned with. In the scene where Bruce Wayne tries to intimidate Falcone, his response to Wayne is so incredibly powerful and at the same time very relatable, because he tries to describe him as a rich party boy and why he has no business coming down here trying to talk to him.
You're Bruce Wayne, the Prince of Gotham. You'd have to go 1,000 miles to meet someone who didn't know your name.
And then Bruce Wayne gets taken by guards, gets beaten up, thrown out, and he decides, you know what? I'm going to try and put a stop to this. And in just that one scene, you get the perfect sense that there is a whole lot of corruption in this city. Because there are police officers that are just sitting there who wouldn't mind if Falcone were to shoot Bruce Wayne in the face. And then, of course, you have the judge there as well. This city is corrupt. Then we branch into our second part of the film, which is the ninja training sequences. These sequences are incredibly entertaining. They're so much fun. You get to see Liam Neeson kicking Christian Bale's ass, and that is so great because I love Liam Neeson, but it proves that people were stronger than Batman at one point. And I love the fact that they train him to be a ninja, because Batman is able to get in and out of places so fast, you're always wondering, how the hell does he do this? And I've waited to talk about this specific character, and here it is. I think Michael Caine as Alfred is the best Alfred we've ever had. I feel like in terms of what he says to Bruce and the themes that he tries to place in front of him, it tells him that he's a young man and he has a bright future ahead of him, is very relatable. So at this point and throughout the entire second half of this movie, Batman begins his reign on crime, and this first action sequence is so incredibly suspenseful in every way. And then he eventually takes Falcone out of the car and says one of the most incredible, suspenseful, and greatest lines of all time.
I'm Batman.
That line and the performance given by Bale is perfect. It could have been said in a better way ever. And our plot just continues when Scarecrow uses his fear toxin against Carmine Falcone, and I love that scene to death. I think it's great because he starts screaming for no reason, then the next shot is him just seeing this vision. However, we find out that the water has been contaminated with this, and they plan to literally release the gas through the drains to make people just hallucinate. And I think that's a great plot. It's very intricate, but it's very interesting as well. And throughout the second half of this film, the police are really not liking Batman. They're not liking this mass vigilante going around stopping crime lords, even though he's doing the respectable thing. Christopher Nolan has come out and said that this movie is supposed to be about fear. And this movie is supposed to be the story of Batman learning to conquer that fear. He has to blow through it, and that's why he chooses bats, because bats frightened him as a kid. And I'm pretty sure that the only thing in this movie that was CGI was the bats. That's it. I can't think of anything else that's CGI. So we come to the final fight of the film, in which Batman and Liam Neeson are literally going at it on the train, which is great. It's a terrific fight. And I read on the IMDb trivia page that they actually had Christian Bale and Liam Neeson try and fight as much as they could and do all the stunts. And then they had stuntmen try to do that, so they kind of went back and forth. And even though in a couple shots you could tell that there was probably a couple stuntmen, for the most part, that's really Bale and Neeson really kicking each other. And I love this line is so great. I love it. And it's sad to think that Liam Neeson dying is something great because he's the villain of this movie. But the line that Batman says right before that, to his iconic scene of him flying back out of the train, is so great. You just need to see it.
I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you.
Following this, and in the final scene, Batman meets Commissioner Gordon, and they're now buddies, and he shows him a little calling card that has the Joker on it. If anyone in 2005 was wondering, hey, is there going to be a sequel? And if there is one, will the Joker be in it? I don't think anyone could have estimated just how incredible of a sequel that movie would be, as well as who would play this man, and would he be any good? So overall, guys, I love Batman Begins. This is not only a great comic book film, but a great film. I love this movie, and my only issue with Batman Begins is I think that sometimes the action sequences in this movie are edited a little choppily. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of quick cut edits, so you can't really see what Batman's doing. That's it. That's really the only flaw I have with this movie. And some people may think that's big, but it really isn't. Guys, I love Batman Begins, and if you have not seen it, I highly recommend you do. I'm going to give this film an A. So guys, what did you think about Batman Begins? I'd love to hear all those comments, so send them in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching my videos as always, and stay tuned.